No. Okay.
These are real answers to, school boards why they didn't want a particular book in that they never read, and the guy or the woman would answer.
Okay,
I've
now,
seen this on TV.
ladies and
I've seen
gentlemen,
it.
I happen to
I
have
have seen this, like
Spooky
Texas
Noodles
school.
here on the phone with me. He can't shut up. I told him I wanted to make a new Midnight Worry show. And he called me up. This is like the Net of Coincidence by Anton Wilson. And we both love Snicker bars. See? So you're on. Now, do you want to be on or not? But you are.
Or you mean you got it clicked on?
Yeah, I'm live. I'm on YouTube.
Oh,
I'm on the radio show. This is the first radio show. The Midnight Worry show and the High Noon show. So, but this is the High Noon show, and I'm introducing my new Yahoo group of Tom's Pynchon and Presco, and this will be the first post. So the duality of sex and religion and death, black and white, night and day. So are you saying that religion does not have to be a duality?
no, it can go straight to a what do you call it? A Godhead of three, and skip over the two.
Well, that's a brilliant idea. That really is a brilliant idea. And it's something that I've, in the last hour, in raising Mimi Farina from the dead, and because she basically died when her husband died, and basically I died when my best friend Bill died, got hit by a train just after midnight on my birthday. And me and my friend Keith were at a Monterey festival of some kind, and it was inside. There were light shows, and the announcer said, Mimi Farina has come out of mourning, and there she is sitting over there. Please go talk to her, ask her to dance. And so she sat there for like 3 minutes, and me and Keith said, let's go over there and talk to her. And we did, and we danced with her. But she wasn't there. She was still with Richard. It was absolutely the most devastating thing I think that ever happened to anybody in the movement. Richard Farina was really the head of the movements, and he was just came out with his book. I've been down so long, it seems like up. And he was going to be like the king of the whole hippie movement. And now he's dead. So I'm not going to go into linear history, linear religion, linear Godhead, or anything like that. I'm just going to start creating, me and me. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I think the first concept, anyways, just to finish that one, was you'd call it the triune, me, myself, and I, and that's it. That's as good as it gets. Or Mama, Papa, and the baby. Oh, that's it.
Me, myself, and I.
No, not me. No, but you know what? Is the funny thing is she lived right across the path from where they filmed Dark Passage with Humphrey Bogart, and in that it's a happy ever ending where he has to disappear to Peru, and she meets him there one night, out of the blue. It's a long story, so I think she might have had that in the back of her head after he passed away, and she was living in that old gold rush shack on Telegraph Hill. Just a thought.
Well, okay. So I think there's been a barrier crossed with Anderson making a movie loosely based upon Vineland. And movies have a different afterlife. than books. Books go on the shelves in libraries. Movies can, go somewhere, but they're more immortal than the book. You see what I'm trying to say there?
Yep. The books gather dust, and the films, you just got to lick off the whatever it is that corrodes the silver nitrate, and you're good to go.
I love that. The silver nitrate.
Hopefully there's
You're telling me about Gene Scott doing a painting of the Silver Surfer. No, and I thought that was just great. I mean,
he painted it and he was selling it on the University Network. That was his church, Box One, L.A. The old Amy Semple McPherson Church, Angelus Temple or whatever it was called. And it's got Gothic, meaning not what you think, not the stone, but the Gothic wood inside.
wow.
Remnant, Spanish Gothic, I would say.
I'm going to Google that and get pictures to go along with my new Facebook.
Well, it's not a lot of it, but it's just enough, or was, unless they stripped the church.
So, in duality, we were talking about life and death, life after death. Believers are going to go to another life. Non-believers are just going to die, and it's just darkness. Nothing happens unless you're a movie star or a guy that's won the Academy Award for a crazy book called Vineland, and maybe Thomas Pynchon didn't give Anderson permission, and I want to find out. I want to invite Paul Anderson and Thomas Pynchon on this show.
Just throw down the gauntlet.
Yeah, I am right now, because I think we're onto something. Because I think literature has crossed over into the immortality of movie making, script writing. So these worlds have collided, and they've created a new dimension, and I think that's what we're talking about here, where heaven can actually be enjoyed here on earth while you're alive. And you can actually enjoy heaven if you don't believe. See, that's it. See, that I think when we separate these things into two piles, non-believers will never enjoy sitting next to the throne of God up in heaven. While believers will just be eating some grapes, hey, I'm with the big guy here. So why don't we just all mix it together, make the great cauldron. We talked about Godopedia.
The Mormons are already doing that. They have fellowship now with the Mormons. With the Muslims, the same way that the Quakers long ago have fellowship with Zen Buddhism. And the trick to the whole deal will be when Elon Musk gets rockets to send Mormons to their own planet, which is supposed to be their heaven on earth. Is every guy gets his own planet, and so the Muslims can hitch a ride on those and save some money on these rockets, and hopefully they have to send up the 70 virgins first, so they get a good welcome. I would use Hawaiian.
Now, where'd you read this?
And I would use Hawaiian girls to lay around their neck, when they land. See, welcome to your own planet. Yeah.
Well, there you go. A Mutiny on the Bounty. You'd have the girls from Mutiny on the Bounty waiting for you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Here's some coins. Jump in and bring it back up, and we'll take it from there.
I actually was a good friend of a woman who was descended from Christian. Her last name was Christian. She came from those islands, and I had dinner at her house in Berkeley several times.
Pitcairn Island. It wasn't on the map, but Captain Bligh, he made it his life duty to go round up the deserters and the mutineers and hang them high in London. I think he spent another 2 years looking for them. but they didn't die. The guys on the bounty, they made it back, as far as I know. And all the mutineers all grabbed some Tahitian women and I guess some pigs or something, and they found out that there was this place that wasn't on the maps called Pitcairn Island, and they just set up shop there and lived happily ever after. Everybody's related to everybody, and I think they got a couple of hundred people there, and tourism.
Okay, so there you go. I mean, there's a good example of what we're aiming for. Instead of dividing the world up in its boxes and section, you stay in that section over there, and you stay in your section. Because of this mutiny, these worlds collided, and it was very beautiful. The sailors had a good time, and Fletcher Christensen had a good time, and he had children. I met was great granddaughter or something like that. So the idea it might be to get Thomas Pynchon out of his seclusion and get him on the island. We'll have a visit. We'll go there to Pitcairn Island.
Pitcairn.
Okay,
so
all right.
It means something like a little pile of stones that the Picts, Picts. Yeah, that's what the name means. Is somebody's name. Pitcairn. Right. Cairn is, the little stones they pile up in the Bible and make when they're journeying. The Israelites would pile up the stones and have a little sacrifice on top of a lamb or something. Or a memorial. They cross the river and they pile up 12 stones for
It sounds like my kind of religion. I was a Nazarite.
Yeah.
Here's
another thing. Marlon Brando, I think, actually was a descendant of Christian Fletcher, and I think Earl Flynn's family also claimed that.
Well, the native star, lived in back of us in Concord, California. My mother lifted us up so we could meet Fletcher Christian's native lover.
Really?
She was our neighbor, yeah, back in Concord, California.
What was her name?
I forget.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a new one. I like that.
So what we're dealing with AI. They say AI is going to take over. But Donald Trump has taken over everybody's conversation. If he knew we were talking about Fletcher Christian, he'd butt in right now. Oh yeah, well, my father made her a loan.
Well, see, what's different, John, with this particular type of communication using the phone and everything, or making a little video and all that, is that AI is really just intrusive intelligence gathering. They call them robots, but what it is just a machine trying to get smart. And the first thing they teach in computer school is that computers can't think. So, it's what it is. It's a fake job pretending like a computer can think. And when they first had these exhibits, they were trying to show how they finally had made robots that could think and take orders and recognize things. This is the original robotics. They had them at some of the malls for Kids Day or whatever in these malls, and they would have one, and he's like, lost in space or something, and so to show the little kids that this little, R2D2 or somebody could talk, they had the little kids come up and say, "What's your name?" And the robot would go, and this is a 2-story mall, like they all are, right? With the escalators and the rotunda type deal with up above, the upper shops, and you can lean over and look down and watch, right? So anyways, the robot would reply, Zardoz or whatever, bleep, and the funny thing was, after a while, everybody was wondering, how can he, how many fingers am I holding up? And he'd go, 5, and you go, how do they do that? This is amazing. I mean, then if you look up at the, whatever they call, the rotunda, the balustrade, whatever, up the mezzanine, up above, a little bit to your right, out of the corner of your eye, you can see a couple guys there, and the one behind him's got a microphone.
Huh. Okay.
So it was all baloney. It was all baloney, and it's all baloney now. So I don't fear it. In fact, what's really funny is, instead of like in 2001, where Hal tries to off the humans, we got just the opposite going on. Is after a while, when it finally, who than those guys, or these guys are better than those guys, or what, in other words, no money issues. It's just who's the coolest. That damn robot AI, which is like, they're going to have it all hooked up, like seed, like what was it where they're trying SETI, they're going to listen to the moon and holy crap, check the stars out. Well, it's going to side with, who, it's going to be on our side. We don't have to do anything. It's going to snoop so much, it's going to fall in love, and it's just going to say, I'm with Whitey.
Okay. Well,
no kidding.
All right, but this is Spooky McNoodles here. I don't want to call him a sidekick anymore. He's coming into his own. We've been talking about doing a radio show for a couple of years now because our conversations are just out of this world. When he lets me get a word in edgewise, they're even more interesting. But I hope you can hear him. I'm getting an unstable connection. I've been on 17 minutes. I just want to say something about the bathrobe I'm wearing. I noticed this morning when I was looking through my posts on Oakland that my father is wearing a bathrobe just like mine. And he wore a bathrobe all the time in his house apartment on Alice Street, right next to the Moose Club.
He was really Vinny the Chin.
He talked to me. Yes, yeah, he knew about Vinny the Chin, and he's got his Mexican friends with him. And let me tell you, these are bad hombres. And when he fell in love with Connie, they would go down and do timeshare down in Puerto Vallarta. And he met Connie, and he fell in love with her. She had like 5 children. I met her. And he smuggled Connie across the border in a marijuana shipment. And Art was the brother of his business partner, and he was head of the Mexican mafia in San Quentin. So they had this apartment that was just the greatest thing. Alice Street, no trouble. You'd never run into any trouble. It's the quietest, nicest street in Oakland, and it's right near downtown. And he had this apartment there, and it was just a hangout. There was a hole in the wall, and he was always in his bath robe. And in looking at the Getty Billy or Ghetto Billy or whatever, they had his outfit, and he's in his bathrobe. It's more of a reddish blue, and so this is going to be the dress code, she's for the black hand or the blue robes against the red robes. And doesn't have to be violent, doesn't have to be down your place of work or anything like that. Maybe that's what we should also think about, ending duality. It's brought us to the brink. Okay. Please wait while we try to reconnecting. All right. Okay, hold on here. Okay, well, I'm having a bad connection here. And so I'm going to end this. This is our first show uh, of Midnight Worry Show and High Noon Show. It's John Presco signing off from Springfield, Oregon on March 25th. And this happens to be Marilyn Reed's birthday. Hi, Marilyn. How you doing out there? You want to say goodbye to the folks? Spooky?
All right. Arrivederci.
Okay, take care. Wow, is that a blow?